In 1998, Volkswagen paid £430 million for Rolls-Royce. BMW paid $40 million. Only one of them makes Rolls-Royces today. Today, Rolls-Royce. Welcome back. Mac here. Today we open the Rolls-Royce glove box. 120 years, two founders who never saw what their company became, one engine that won a world war, and one of the most bizarre corporate bidding wars in automotive history. 42 slides. Let's go. 1904, Manchester. Two men meet in a hotel. They have nothing in common except one thing. Charles Stewart Rolls, born 1877, son of a baron, Cambridge-educated engineer. By 1904, he is importing Panhard and Peugeot cars to wealthy English customers. He knows cars. He does not know how to build them. Frederick Henry Royce, born 1863, no school after age 10, newspaper boy, telegraph messenger, apprentice electrician. By 1904, he runs a small electrical equipment company in Manchester, Royce Limited, and has just built his first car in his spare time. He knows how to build things. He does not know how to sell them. May the 4th, 1904, the Midland Hotel, Manchester. Rolls' business partner arranges a lunch. Rolls drives one of Royce's prototype cars. The meeting lasts 3 hours. They agree to sell cars exclusively under the Rolls-Royce name. Neither man will live to see what that name becomes. 1906. Rolls-Royce Limited is incorporated in Manchester. The early models, the Silver Ghost, is still a year away. The quality reputation builds one car at a time. 1907. The 4050 HP, the Silver Ghost. Autocar magazine runs a trial, 23,000 miles without a mechanical failure. Their headline, the best car in the world. That phrase sticks to Rolls-Royce for the next 100 years. Whether it remains accurate, that is a different question. Here's where it gets interesting. Rolls dies in 1910. Royce keeps building anyway. July the 12th, 1910. Charles Rolls is killed at an air show in Bournemouth when his Wright Flyer breaks apart during a landing. He is 32 years old, the first British person to die in a powered aircraft accident. The company he co-founded carries his name. He had been a shareholder for 4 years. Royce keeps designing from his home in Le Canadel, France, where he goes for his health. Engineers travel to him with drawings. He corrects them. He does not return to England for decades. The cars get better every year. 1914, war. The British government needs aero engines. Rolls-Royce builds the Eagle, a V12 producing over 300 horsepower. The Eagle powers the Vickers Vimy that flies the first non-stop transatlantic crossing in 1919. Rolls-Royce is no longer only a car company. That shift is permanent. 1925, Henry Royce introduces the new Phantom, later called Phantom Y. The Silver Ghost is discontinued. The model naming that defines Rolls-Royce for the next century begins here. April the 5th, 1933. Henry Royce dies at age 70. The company changes the color of the RR monogram on every car from red to black, as a mark of mourning. They never change it back. File that one under. Things that tell you everything about a brand. Here's the 1930s footprint. Derby, Crewe pending, and an aero engine division that is about to matter enormously. Derby, the main work since 1908. Cars and aero engines on the same site, in the same buildings, built by overlapping teams. That dual identity, luxury car and precision engine manufacturer, is what keeps the company alive in the decades ahead. 1938, the Crewe factory opens, purpose-built for the coming war demand. This building is at the center of the bidding war 60 years later. Between 1935 and 1940, the Rolls-Royce engineering team, working without Royce, who was 2 years dead, develops the Merlin, a 27-liter V12. It produces over 1,000 horsepower in early production variants. The team does not yet know what they have built. The Merlin goes into the Spitfire, the Hurricane, the Lancaster bomber, and eventually, under license by Packard in the United States, the P-51 Mustang. 168,000 Merlin engines built between 1935 and 1950. A car company's engine division wins a world war. Now we get to the part nobody at the press junket likes. Pause. Which badge next? Drop one. We pick from comments. Now we get to the part nobody at the press junket likes. In this case, it is also the part that saved Britain. Summer 1940, the Luftwaffe attacks Britain in the largest air campaign in history to that point. The RAF has two frontline fighters, the Hawker Hurricane and the Supermarine Spitfire. Both are powered by the Merlin. A car company's engine is the single most critical piece of hardware in the defense of Britain. The Merlin production number is 168,000 units. Between 1935 and 1950, Derby, Crewe, Glasgow, and two Packard plants in Detroit. The engine outlives the war by years. Post-war de Havilland Hornet. Post-war Lancaster civilian conversions. The number is not a typo. In the summer of 1940, Lord Beaverbrook, Churchill's Minister of Aircraft Production, puts Rolls-Royce on a crash production schedule. Output nearly doubles in 12 months. The Crewe factory runs 24 hours a day. The Shadow Factory scheme distributes engine production across 11 additional sites. 1944, Rolls-Royce builds the Welland, Britain's first production jet engine. The piston era is ending. The same company that started making cars in 1906 is now one of the world's leading jet engine manufacturers. The car division is still there. It is no longer the primary business. 1946. The Crewe factory switches back to car production. The Silver Wraith, then the Silver Dawn. The cars are expensive, hand-built, and sold in very small numbers. That is not a problem. That is the business model. 1965. The Silver Shadow. The first Rolls-Royce with a monocoque body, no separate chassis. The most commercially successful Rolls-Royce model in history by unit count. Over 16,000 built over 16 years. For a car at this price, that is a very high number. BMW versus Volkswagen, 1998. The receipts are extraordinary. 1998. Vickers plc, the British defense conglomerate that has owned Rolls-Royce motors since 1980, decides to sell. The asking price is expected to be around £340 million. Two bidders emerge, BMW and Volkswagen Group. Volkswagen wins with £430 million. BMW is outbid. The announcement goes out. VW has Rolls-Royce. Except, and this is where the story turns, VW does not have Rolls-Royce. What Volkswagen bought, the Crewe factory, the Bentley brand, all existing car designs and tooling. What Volkswagen did not buy, the Rolls-Royce name, the Spirit of Ecstasy mascot trademark, or the RR logo. Those were owned by Rolls-Royce plc, the aerospace company, not Vickers. Nobody in the auction room apparently noticed this until it was over. BMW, which had an existing engine supply relationship with Rolls-Royce plc, quietly acquires the Rolls-Royce name and trademark rights from the aerospace company for £40 million. £40 million. Against VW's 430. BMW has the name. VW has the factory. Neither can make a Rolls-Royce without the other. The lawyers take 6 months to sort it out. The settlement, VW keeps Crewe and produces Bentleys from January 2003. BMW gets the Rolls-Royce name and brand rights from January 2003. BMW builds a new factory from scratch on the Goodwood estate in West Sussex. The Phantom, the first BMW-era Rolls-Royce, launches in 2003. 1971. Things got close. February the 4th, 1971, Rolls-Royce Limited files for insolvency. The cause, catastrophic cost overruns on the RB211. A new high-bypass turbofan engine contracted for the Lockheed L1011 TriStar. Development costs exceed estimates by hundreds of millions. The car division is entirely solvent. The Aero Engine division takes the whole company down. The Heath government nationalizes Rolls-Royce immediately. The strategic logic is clear. Britain cannot allow its primary jet engine manufacturer to disappear. The RB211 program continues. The TriStar enters service in 1972 with Rolls-Royce engines. The company that went bankrupt delivers the engine on schedule. 1973, The government separates the car business from the aero engine business. Rolls-Royce Motors becomes a private company. Rolls-Royce, the aerospace firm, remains nationalized. One name. Two completely separate companies. The confusion this creates 25 years later in the VW-BMW auction is not accidental. 1980. Vickers plc acquires Rolls-Royce Motors. The cars continue. Bentley continues alongside them. The badge survives, for now. They didn't stay down. January 1st, 2003. BMW hands over the Rolls-Royce name and trademarks. The new Goodwood factory, designed by Nicholas Grimshaw, set in the West Sussex countryside, begins production. The first car off the line, the Phantom 7, a completely new car, engineered entirely by BMW. Nothing carries over from the Vickers era. The Phantom 7, 5.6 meters long, a V12. The reviewers ask whether it is a real Rolls-Royce or a BMW in a fancy suit. The sales answer the question. Sold out on launch. Waiting list of 2 years. Under BMW ownership, the range expands. The Ghost in 2009, a smaller, entry-level Rolls-Royce. The Wraith Coupe, the Dawn convertible. Entry-level is relative. The Ghost lists at $350,000 in the United States. 2018, the Cullinan, the first Rolls-Royce SUV in 114 years of the company. The purists object loudly. The customers do not. It becomes the best-selling Rolls-Royce in the brand's history within 2 years of launch. File that one under. Things they'd rather you forget, and then forget they said. Here's what they're betting the company on now. Full electric. Every model. 2022. The Spectre. First fully electric Rolls-Royce. 580 horsepower. 0 to 100 in 4.4 seconds. Range claimed 520 kilometers. The name comes from the Ghost variant, a ghost you can't hear coming. The company has committed to a fully electric lineup by 2030. No combustion engines after that date. For a brand whose identity has been the V12 for 30 years, that is not a small announcement. The V12 stays available until 2030. Then it does not. 2023. Rolls-Royce Motor Cars delivers 6,032 vehicles. A record. In context, Volkswagen Group sells roughly 10 million cars per year. Rolls-Royce sells 6,000. Profit per unit is not published. The price list starts at $340,000. Inside BMW Group, Rolls-Royce sits at the top of the pyramid. 6,000 cars, maximum margin, 0 volume pressure. The brand that went bankrupt in 1971 got nationalized, split in two, auctioned to 2 different buyers who each got half of what they paid for, is now the most profitable badge in the BMW portfolio per unit. That is the story. Top 5 numbers from today. 1904, the year 2 strangers met in a Manchester hotel. 1910, the year one of them was dead. 168,000 Merlin engines that won a war. 430 million pounds that bought a factory but not a name. 6,032 cars in 2023. One badge. If you got this far, you're already 1% deeper into car history than 99% of drivers. Hit subscribe. Mac out.